They're over campfires at home at night with just you and your parents or grandparents or whoever it is from ages long, long time ago to even now. There are many stories out there. Many stories about entities, creatures, things we do and do not understand. But starting today, I, Plushy, dramatic entrance, woo, will be researching these entities. It seems rather random to do this, but trust me, this has been a dream of mine. Shut up, phone. Shut up. Because they're so far beyond and said only a few would be working. Have that many people, so who? Everybody. That sucks. Ew. Getting distracted. Getting distracted. Okay. Folklore. Folklore and folklore creatures. I'm using it as an umbrella term. A lot of these creatures aren't technically used in folklore. Whatever you define folklore as, I'm sure there's a definition of folklore. Um, but yeah, I'm just researching creatures, and today we are starting off with a very fun one. We're starting off with hitchiker spirits. Now, hitchiker spirits, um, if you've ever heard any folklore creatures or folklore stories involving them, which I'm sure you probably have, because there are many with hitchhikers. It, a very common theme with them is a female in a long white dress, and that's also a common theme with a lot of creepy spirits, and don't know why that's a common theme, but it is. And today we're researching them to see if that's like just a type of spirit, and possibilities of why that spirit's there. Great start to the series. Okay, let me just switch on to the right. Yeah, we're using Firefox. Don't judge me, okay? Don't judge. I know you're judging me right now, and I don't need that. All right, all right. Ignore what's on the screen here. Ignore it. All right, all right. Um, hitchhiker. I'm probably just gonna show this in case of what comes up. And okay, the hitchhiker effect is a term used in both modern paranormal lore and classic folklore. It refers to floofy, um, a phenomenon where spiritual, anomalous, or extraterrestrial entities do not stay in one location, but instead latch on to visitors and follow them home. Oof. No, well, not what I meant. Not what I want to look up. But we will be looking to that later on. I don't know if I want to do aliens. Probably will. Probably will. We got a lot of list of different entities to really look through, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun. Um, bu- 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 um. Or let's actually just look up this because it sounds pretty interesting. Um, encrypted wiki. Let's look this up. Go number 3 here. Alright, can I zoom in? I want to zoom in. I forgot how to zoom in. We got all these ads. We don't want ads. We don't care. Okay. Hitchhikers, also called hitchhiking ghosts or hitchers, are a type of ghosts that appear in both the Ghost Roads and Encrypted series. Well, when under stress or duress, hitchhikers appear as they did when they died. Otherwise, they are able to manipulate their appearance. They can change their outfits, the length and color of their hair, and other superficial aspects. It is known how extreme they can make the changes. Abilities: hitchhikers only become corporal when freely given a coat. Until that time, anything they eat, even in the twilight, is tasteless and odorless. The power of the coat lasts until the ghost removes it or until the next dawn. Um, that is super cool. I totally know what the word corporal means, and I'm totally not switching to face cam, so I can look up corporal, corporeal, corporal, popo shmuken baba, um, coral, mm, that's not how you spell it. I just saw the word. I forgot the word already. I mean, I'm not looking up the word. Um, corporeal. Okay. Corporeal. Corporeal definition. Corporeal is an adjective that refers to something tangible, material, or having a physical body. Okay, so when they are given a coat? Is this like Dobby? Are these hitchhikers similar to Doobie? Are these hitchhikers, are they like Dobby? Can I give them a sock? I shouldn't be making fun of this, but how am I losing frames already? I am literally just moving back and forth here, not doing much. Hitchhikers only come corporeal when freely given a coat. Until that time, anything they eat, even in the twilight, is tasteless and odorless. The power of the coat lasts until the ghost removes it or until the next dawn. Habitat. Hitchhikers may prefer to live in the twilight, but they are inexorably drawn to the daylight and the need to hitchhike. The trio of hitchhiking ghosts are among the best known characters in the Haunted Mansion. Hitchhiking ghosts that do prevent or create accidents on the road are common in urban legend. Around the world, the ritual of loaning a jacket is also common. What's this? You are in a car with a complete stranger on the highway, where a mistake can easily result in a dangerous car crash. There is something about it that's not entirely comfortable, as if that weren't bad enough, your company might as well be from this might well be not from this world. Ooh. Oh no. I had no idea. I love picking up strangers in my car. Totally. I don't even have a car. I don't drive. Um, Urban legends of vanishing hitchhikers are very widespread around the world and quite old. In the oldest ones, the vehicles picking up ghosts were still horses and carriages. I didn't even know there were ones where it was like horses and carriages. Really? I figured the story is still the same. It's stories like these, stories where there's two, they're so common, right? And I'm not saying ghosts and spirits. Forgive me for using the word ghosts. I'm not saying spirits and whatnot are real. That's not what this whole series is going to be about. I'm going to be like, believe in spirits and entities and stuff like that. Bigfoot is real. I'm not going to be like that. This is simply me just researching these creatures that we hear in folklore so often. Um, it's just really exciting. But to hear about creatures like these, it's awesome. All right, I love it. I love it to death. I will never get sick of hearing about these kind of entities. Probably. All right. So the basic outline is the same. A driver picks up a hitchhiker on a lonely stretch of road, or sometimes just agrees to give a lift to someone met at a party or similar circumstances. The passenger is most often a beautiful young woman, more rarely an old woman. The driver is almost always male. Of course, it's gonna be the guy. God, if it's ever the time I should be embarrassed about being a man. Oh, there's many times like that. But the passenger may complain of being cold regardless of the actual weather. The driver will loan her his jacket or blanket. Oh, I really want to know what's the deal with loaning the jacket. Is that really a thing? I didn't know that was like a thing that made spirits suddenly corporeal, um, physical. Give them a physical form by giving them a jacket or a piece of clothing. I'm assuming it has to be a jacket or a blanket or something like that. It can't be just a sock. It's got to be something probably more. I wonder if that's because of like a belief that like part of our spirit, a piece of our soul, goes into like the clothes that we wear the most, or even blankets and whatnot, because they're around us all the time. Um, but nonetheless, the driver takes the passenger to the address she specifies, but when he arrives there, he finds that she has vanished from his car without a trace. Sometimes she disappears as the driver passes the graveyard where she is buried. Sometimes she gets out and appears to enter the house, but the driver decides to check in on her the next day. He inquires at the house, where he learns that his passenger has died long before. Sometimes it's the anniversary of her death. When he visits her gravestone, he finds his jacket draped over it. Ooh, spooky, scary. Ah, that's part of the story where your friend like turns off the lights or something and jumps at you. Like, oh, boo, and you scare, you piss yourself. Little pee babies piss yourself because you're scared about it. When you scared, when you scared. um, or another variant found as far back as the Bible. Wait, no, there's not stories like this in the Bible, are there? No. A driver picks up a hitchhiker on a lonely stretch of road. The driver is usually male, the passenger often an old woman, or very often a nun. Cool. We got nuns in the story too. The passenger issues prophecies during the ride. These vary by region and by story, and can be vague or specific, but don't necessarily have to come. Wait, don't have to come true. Okay. Um, she vanishes from the driver's car before they reach their destination. Most likely because it's the Bible. It's not actually a car, but yeah. The driver subsequent inquiries reveal that she is dead or divine. In Hawaii, she is usually the goddess Pele. There's yet another variant, as seen in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, where the passenger is alive and the driver is dead. Okay, well, let's not quite get into that, because that's just Pee-wee. All right, we're not gonna care about Herman. Fiction has taken its cue, and the variations are manifold. Manifold. It can be the driver as well as the hitchhiker who has some strange qualities. There's a variation where the apparition will seemingly materialize in front of a moving car despite instant braking. It appears they had been hit. Getting out and examining the car, and I'm assuming it's supposed to be an environment. Examining the car and environment will not reveal any body. Rest assured, however, that the driver has been marked. Okay, cool. And that's when the driver goes back home and is haunted, becomes crazy, starts killing his whole family. Whoop-de-woo, we got another story ahead of us. Um, the trope's names come from the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney theme park, which ends with this sage piece of advice. As it says this, the cars pass in front of tricks mirrors that can make it look like ghosts are sitting by the riders. Shortly after, the riders disembark from the vehicles. As they do, the narrator warns that ghosts will follow you home. One second. 3. Oh wait, I'm hitting the wrong button. There we go. Alright, so far, Hitchhiker Ghosts seem to be pretty interesting. So many different variations. Obviously, it's going to be pretty hard to tell uh, why they are what they are. Um, Obviously, I think they fall under the category of Fae, and there's not really a lot of categories, like true categories that you can like use for these beings, but Fae is definitely one, and Faes are normally spirits that trick their victims per se. We'll call them victims, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's a fae. They're trickster spirits, trickster type spirits. So definitely, hitchhiker spirits are definitely in that category. But I wonder, do they know that they're tricking their victims per se? Is that their goal? Or do they just want to go back home? Or to where they died? Or to where their body is now? The idea of a hitchhiker spirit is so cool. And that's going to be the same for all of these characters, creatures, entities that I research in this series. All of these are going to be so interesting. There's like so much to go about them, right? Let's look into let me find another article about hitchhiker spirits. Um, because we went to Cryptid Wiki, right? And we also read an article from tvtropes.org. Um, all right. Let's see, documented. What's this article about? Ghost on the Road, The Vanishing Hitchhiker. Welcome to this weird Wednesday. Today we're taking a road trip with an unexpected passenger, at least for a while. Or maybe they're not unexpected. The Vanishing Hitchhiker is one of the most famous urban legends out there. The story goes like this. A driver of a car, or in older versions, a horse-drawn vehicle, stops to pick up a hitchhiker on a lonely road. The hitchhiker asks to be driven to a particular destination. But once they arrive, the driver finds that the hitchhiker has somehow disappeared, even though the car never stopped moving. It's honestly, I'll admit, with spirits like this, it does make me glad that I don't drive because I know myself. Um, with my luck, I would pick up a hitchhiker. No, and it's probably gonna be a live one. See, they're probably gonna be alive. They're probably not gonna be a spirit, and they're probably gonna be a murderer, and then I become a hitchhiker spirit. The We'll continue on with this, and I'll probably ask my more questions afterwards, because obviously there's going to be questions with this. This is why we're researching. This is why we're looking this stuff up. It's amazing. It's fun. I love this stuff. Hopefully other people will watch me doing this video and probably also have questions about these. Whether they continue watching my live streams or videos, doesn't matter, but having fun and just learning about this kind of stuff is cool. Let me just pull up my live because I want to share it with some people. Ah. Here we go. We gotta say where we want to go. Obviously, I'm doing interesting stuff right now. I don't think I'm gonna really edit much when posting this on YouTube. Anyhow, back to what I was doing. This button, yeah. Okay. The story ends with the driver realizing they picked up a ghost. There are a couple of ways to do this. If the destination was a house, the driver can question its occupants to find the hitchhiker has been dead for years. Either the Either because the driver recognizes their photo or because it's not the first time the hitchhiker has tried to get home and the family is just used to it. I mean, at that point, yeah. Just imagine this family who gets like a person, like 3 people a year, right? 3 different times a year. Every year they come to their house like, hey, how is so and so? I picked them up and drove them to this house like a week ago or something like that, or yesterday. It's like, how are they doing? And that person's dead. And it's like, oh wow, that would be just something you'd probably get a little bit tired of it, but you're just used to it. It's like, oh, this happens all the time. Now they're dead. Haha, you just got tricked by a hitchhiker ghost. You fool. Interesting stuff. Um, the ghost may have left an item in the car, book, scarf, lighter, or even bicycle that the family recognizes, or they might have borrowed a jacket or other item from the driver, who later finds their item resting on the hitchhiker's gravestone. So I'm wondering if you don't give the hitchhiker an item, I'm assuming it most likely has to be a piece of clothing, right? It has to be some sort of piece of clothing that you give the hitchhiker, and it makes them corporeal. It gives them a physical body. That's probably what makes the hitchhiker. Oh, there. You know what I mean. Gives them a physical body. It gives them a little spiritual energy or something like that. Vanishing hitchhikers are often a ghost of people who were killed on the road, where they were picked up and they may ask to be taken to the destination they were trying to reach when they died. Part of me also wonders if hitchhiker spirits are possibly spirits of those who were probably trying to escape captivity or something like that, and they ran across the road and bam, like that. But in that sense, would they really have a destination? They might. Maybe, I guess maybe something like a local police or something like that. You know, I feel like that probably would be their destination. Love this stuff. I do. This is absolutely amazing. Um, let's see. They might have been hitchhiking there originally. A favorite variation of mine is when the hitchhiker requests to be driven to an airport and turns out they're from a plane that crashed before landing. Oh my god. And they want to finally make it to the runway. Sometimes this hitchhiker can even smell like jet fuel. Alternatively, the hitchhiker may have died near the road from some other accident like drowning, or the ghost longs to go home. Oh my god. Wow, I didn't even think of the whole plane crash scenario. Fluff. Um, yeah. Plane crash? That would be crazy. Um, hitchhiker may also be asked to be taken to the site of their burial or the funeral home that handled their body, or request a route that passes it. A famous version of the story in Chicago is that of Resurrection Mary, a phantom hitchhiker who disappears when her unsuspecting driver nears the graveyard where she was buried. Resurrection Cemetery. That is not a cemetery. That is not the name of a gosh darn cemetery. Who the fluff names their cemetery Resurrection? Who the fluff names a graveyard Resurrection? Mm. Mary also represents a variant of the tale where the phantom hitchhiker is actually picked up where they spent the evening before their death. Okay, so not exactly where they died, but where they spent the evening before they died. Such as a dance club, they might seem so real that the driver takes and even dances with them before trying to drive them home. There's also a version where the party continues to the hitchhiker's home and the driver comes back later to visit and find that the home has been abandoned for years. That would be the worst way. Hold on a second. That would be the absolute worst way to be ghosted. Okay? A pun intended, I guess, right? Pun intended. It's like, oh, you think you found this like really nice girl or guy or whatever at like a club. And you start dancing and it's like, hey, you look smexy. Wanna come back to my place? I and you drive into their place, and you don't come in with them for whatever reason, and he's like, hey, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll come back tomorrow, to pick you up to take you somewhere else, to go on an actual date. And then you do come back, and the place is just gone. It's been abandoned. It's run down. No one's lived there for like years because the person who did used to live there kind of died, and that sucks. That would be like a really bad way to get ghosted. That would so suck. Ugh. That would suck a lot. Less common variations of the story include the vanishing hitchhiker saving the driver of the car by preventing a repeat of the accident in which they died, whether an icy path, tight curve, or a near collision, in a version where a ghost appears randomly in the back seat of a certain car because they used to own it and may have died in it. Oh my god, that just gave me a different idea too. So we'll probably go into this in a different episode, right? And I probably don't know what I'm talking about, but um there's an idea when you go to sleep, uh your soul leaves your body, right? Uh, so what if it's like a hitchhiker spirit, and the spirit is of a person who's still very much so alive, but just asleep, probably in a different part of the world, and just spirit's just roaming around, and suddenly sees this person about to get in an accident, and is like, "Whoop! I better stop this." It's like hops in the car. Hey, make the right turn. Stop! You're about to die. Ha! That would that would be crazy. Anywho, there's also an opposite version of the story with the hitchhiker is alive, but is picked up by a ghostly driver and car which crashed alongside the road years before. The hitchhiker in this case actually makes it to their destination, but realizes the truth when the car vanishes. This story can be found in 1967 the 1967 song Phantom 309 by Tommy Fail. Tommy Fail. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. That's even crazier, right? Because the idea where the spirit is hitchhiker themselves, you give the hitchhiker like a piece of clothing, like a jacket, maybe a hat, maybe a blanket. They're cold. They're probably a little cold. They probably got a little, probably give them your scarf, It's something that gave them a corporeal form. Um, what about the driver? What, giving them money, maybe? What what would give them a physical form? It would have to be something, right? Could you give, like, let's say you're wearing lipstick, right? Say you give them a smooch on the cheek, on the cheek. Give them a smooch on the cheek. What does that do? Does that is that enough to give them form? Can you even do that if they don't have corporeal form? Because corporeal is like physical, right? Physical form. So if they're not corporeal yet, they probably don't have that. That just leads to a lot of questions. I love this. This is awesome. The best thing ever. Um, let's continue on. It's clear why the vanishing hitchhiker is so popular. Picking up a hitchhiker is inherently creepy. Introducing a stranger into the familiar environment of your car, plus people like stories with resolutions, explaining the bizarre vanishing makes for a satisfying ending. Now, there are obviously spirits like this. Let's see if we can find an actual folklore um, with a scenario like this. So give me a second. I'm going to switch this as I go search it up. I don't want you guys seeing me misspelling everything in such a horrible way. Ooh. Painful. Not interested, AI. Let's see. Okay, here's one in American folklore. That seems like a site that I need to look at more. I don't think I've ever looked at that site. I need to change that. Oof, okay. The Hitchhiker. A Massachusetts ghost story. Alright, so this one is in Massachusetts. Our friend Josh and Sandy were firm believers in ghosts and claimed to have seen the mysterious red-haired phantom that haunted the Route 44. My wife and I are sitting with them at dinner one night and we start kidding them about it. Funny how we've never seen him, and we drive that stretch of road all the time. My wife Jill drawled. You skeptic, Sandy said, emphasizing the word as if it was a curse. One of these days you're gonna find out I'm right and you'll owe me a pizza. I gotta say, pizza's a good prize, alright? I bet you they're gonna get like a whole box of pizza. Just multiple boxes of pizza. What kind of pizza are we talking here, you know? With pineapple? Um, if I ever see the ghostly hitchhiker, I'll buy you a large pizza every day for a year. Fluff, yeah. That would be awesome. Um, they promised, or promised, the evening ended pleasantly, and it wasn't long before Jill and I were driving home through the crisp fall air. Let's take Route 44, Jill said suddenly, flashing me a sideways look. Hoping to see a ghost? I chuckled, taking this turn as she directed. Ha! Jill snorted derisively. This is why I don't read a lot of stories. Out to people, at least. She yawned and turned her head to face the passenger window. Suddenly, she let out a shriek of sheer terror. I jumped and glanced sideways, my hand shaking on the steering wheel. A red-haired man with a bushy beard wearing a plaid shirt and blue jeans were running right next to the passenger side of the car. He kept glancing in the window and leering at Jill. Wait, so he was like... Was he just like running alongside the car? Was he just like supermaning it? Like just checking it out? Like, what's going on here? What's going on here? I'm not a ghost. This is just a normal human thing to do. Oh no. um, Heart pounding in terror, I hit the gas. A moment later, I glanced in the rearview mirror and saw the red-haired man was sitting in the back seat of our car. Oh, 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 he didn't need to be invited in. He was like, oh, let me just do it myself. Oh, fuck. Oh, fluff. I said fluff. Jill shrieked again and began pummeling the phantom with her purse. How can you hit something that doesn't have a physical form? I kept looking back and forth between my wife and the phantom and the road ahead, and determined that I was not going to let the red-haired ghost force us into a fatal accident. Smart choice. I glanced toward the back seat for a moment, and the ghost laughed, a laugh that made my teeth tingle and the hairs on my neck stand up. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Jill gabbled the words of the rosary. Glancing in the mirror, I saw the phantom grimace as she recited the holy words. Then he vanished without a trace. Hold on. Are we suggesting that the spirit was some sort of demon? Is that what we're suggesting here? Maybe he just thought it was annoying that she was reciting from the Bible, okay? I mean, he just wanted to sit there in peace. He just wanted to hang out with people. Probably wanted to get a free ride for a little bit. All right, what's wrong with that? Now we got some weird, crazy lady trying to hit you with her bag, reciting words from the Bible. All right, let this man just be, okay? He's not probably gonna hurt anyone. Probably. Alright. So he vanishes. I got us out of there much faster than the speed limit allowed. I was shaking from head to toe, and Jill was sobbing, hysterically. As soon as I pulled into the driveway and turned off the car, I swept my wife into my arms and held her as tightly as I could. We clung each other for a long time. The both of us stopped shaking, and Jill's sobs had abated, and at that moment I reminded her about the pizza we now owe our friends. I want to go inside, Jill whispered against my neck, and I nodded, not trusting my voice. That night we discussed the incident, but oddly enough, neither of us had nightmares. When we woke in the morning, I felt much better about the whole thing until I remembered my promise to Sandy the night before. I groaned aloud and then clapped a hand over my mouth lest the sound wake my wife. Too late. She opened her green eyes and gave me a sleepy smile. You owe Sandy years' worth of pizza, Jill said. I most certainly do, I replied, rubbing the back of her neck gently. I most certainly do. Alright, to this, conclude this stream, is probably where I'm going to conclude. I've read a story. We've researched a little bit about the entity. My conclusion on this entity is it's a Fey type. Definitely. It's a trickster type spirit that in most iterations, from what I'm guessing, is pretty harmless. Now, could it potentially stick with a person, with a marked victim, to their home and then do something more? Yes. Yes, I feel like it could probably evolve and become something more than just a hitchhiker spirit. But then at that point, it could become something a lot more. Per se, maybe a curse or something like that. And that would be more. But I think a lot of these spirits are just the lost souls wanting to go back to home or to where they were trying to get to, trying to escape to, maybe, and maybe going back to their body because they're confused. All right, and it's hitchhikers is really sad. It's a sad entity idea, but it does teach a lesson, and all of these entities, they all have a lesson. That's the beautiful part about folklore. All folklore tales have an amazing lesson to this. And this one is definitely, I think it's being wary of strangers, you know, definitely playing on the fear of letting strangers into your car. It's about as personal as letting them into your own home. And you don't really know what that stranger has been through. You know, it could be a good spirit or a bad spirit. And I think that the lesson is being wary of strangers. I could be wrong in that. There's a lot of different versions to this. Um, but if you're watching this and you like this kind of stuff, definitely do your own research on it. Do, do more, look more into hitchhikers, learn about them. Learn to see if you have any cool hitchhike folklore stories that are around you where you live right now. That's amazing. There was back in the place where I lived, I think there was like a road called the Witch Road or something like that. It had a tale pretty, pretty similar to it. Um, so you'll definitely find hitchhiker spirit stories all over, and it's pretty cool. So beware of strangers, but also keep an eye out for them. You never know when they're going to be spirits who are just wanting to go home. They're just longing to go home or to find a place that is home to them. Um, if you liked this video, cool. That's cool. Maybe watch more of my videos, watch more of my streams. I do some pretty cool streams on Plish Plush on Twitch. Um, but if you don't like my streams or my video, that's also pretty cool. You know, uh, I just hope that some people will actually watch these and be interested and look more into these entities, because that's my main goal. Just it's just looking into these and just sharing the information with other people, and it's cool. It's fun. It's fun. It's amazing. All right. See you guys next time. Thank you for watching the video, for watching the stream before or after, during or after. I mean, um, see you next time. Wah, wah. Cool hood time. Ooh.